Wow. That is the first run I've done past the first act. 476, come on, show it to me. Yeah. It is just so crazy how much different playing this game is. So, if you haven't seen or don't remember my last video of this song, this was a one session, about like 3.5 hour grind kind of thing, which was really long for me back then. And I was so pissed off at the end of that grind because I had to settle for ticks. I just could not get this last act. I threw so many runs that were, first place world record ticks on that last act because I wanted 476 so bad. Like, it would have been such a big deal for me at the time. Now, this isn't that big of a deal anymore, especially, when it's your first run, basically. Even today, like 9 months or whatever later, I'm still surprised by how early you can hit that back end. But the difference is 100% my extended hit window ability, meaning that I can actually use extended hit window frames at this point and not just like try to do the execution and probably end up losing a frame or two by doing so. But obviously in the end it paid off, so sometimes you have to take a step back, take a couple steps forward kind of thing. As for this run overall, man, I don't know, like, this seems pretty good to me. I was down 8 ticks after or before the last act, I believe. I think 32 is max ticks. And that is insanely hard to hold because of that guitar lick, specifically that blue-orange chord into the yellow-blue hammer-on sequence. Still hasn't gotten that much easier, but it definitely is not like stressing me out the same way it did the first time around. The only reason that, I said this was my first run past the first act, and I did spend a few minutes on that first act because I was trying to connect the yellow-blue sustain to the second to last yellow-blue chord, and I do think, I'm almost positive that's possible, but I didn't know just how hard this last act was still going to be. Even though I ended up getting it first time through, it still could have been, star power ending on the frame that I hit the back end. So, I seriously doubt this act is like easy or free by any means. And as a result, I really didn't want to spend too much time just stuck on that first act trying to see if that was possible, because it was very likely the run would die after that, especially with the added nerves of hitting the extra ticks on the first act. I believe the upper bound has like reverse ticks on the first act and even the second act. I'm not really interested in going for that. If I was going for ticks, I would really just want to hit the altered first act and get all the ticks on that sustain, but yeah, I wasn't really concerned with ticks at all, to be honest. I just wanted 476. And I'm glad I actually did what I said I was going to do in my original Score Hero description, came back to this, because, again, it really was not a big deal at this point. I am pretty surprised that I didn't miss either the front end on the strumming act or the strumming itself for the back end. As for that act, I remember in my first run through this, I specifically didn't push that act because I had just got done at that point doing Miserlou and tassing that all out. I just was not in the mood at all to try to push a strum behind a hopo back end. Nowadays, I could definitely see that following green being possible, so it really wouldn't surprise me with the altered first act to see 476.5 possible on this. But that's for another day. I have plenty of other stuff I can do in the meantime, especially if the Xbox adapter I picked up actually functions correctly. But in the meantime, just doing a little bit of cleanup here. It's very strange to be calling this cleanup, but it's essentially what it is, I guess. And the last act, just want to touch on, I think my ticks were okay. Like, it's really just a total crapshoot to try to tell one way or the other because you have to let off the red-blue so early. But ideally, of course, you want to hold on to that chord until the frame that you're strumming, the yellow-orange. The problem with that is that you know, even if you're not super concerned about hitting the back end frame perfectly, which you probably should be, but maybe you have more leniency than that. I mentioned this in the laugh track video, but if you're already holding 2 frets before a chord, it disables extended hit window, at least if they don't share a fret, I believe is the mechanic. So you don't have like any leniency. So the ideal thing isn't super practical. You probably want to leave yourself at least 1 or 2 frames. And under star power on a chord, that's a lot of ticks. So yeah, like I said, I think 476.5 is probably possible if the strumming act double is, and I don't know. I'd have to look into that someday, but I'm good with this for now.